Hey guys, it's Tess. For today's video, I wanted to share the things I wish I knew before I joined BookTok. And today we are going to be talking about, firstly, how I started BookTok and how I grew my account. And then we are going to be talking about marketing, networking, connections, friends, TikTok Live, and the TikTok algo. And then we are also going to be talking about mental health. So let's get started. Okay, so firstly, in the year of 2020, during COVID, when basically the whole world was shut down, TikTok, as well as other social media platforms, was gaining popularity due to quarantine. I knew of TikTok, but I was very hesitant to download the app. Actually, I think I downloaded it in 2021 and not 2020, so my math might be off on this, but I remember downloading it as like a sort of new app. The curiosity of the app really got the better of me, and I downloaded it in, I believe, November of 2020. It might have been November of 2021. Yet again, my math might be wrong here, but I also decided that I wanted to take my writing career seriously. The thing is, I am very easily distracted. The thing on YouTube is there were videos of people studying or working. They were using a study technique, which was very new to me, called the Pomodoro technique. And that's where you set a period for it and are completely focused for that length of time. And then you take a break for so much time. I think the most common was like 25 minutes. However, I use the 50-10 minute typically. This really helped me, but what I was really lacking was a friend to bounce ideas off. Ask for help on a word, or ask how I should reword a sentence to make it sound better. That is when I went on TikTok to find people like me. And that's basically how I started TikTok. So how I grew my account. When I started BookTok, I had around 300 followers. And when I started engaging in, joining BookTok, really, I found a trend called Readers Follow Party. You could leave a comment, and if a person liked your comment, you'd follow them, and they would follow you back. That is how I grew my account, at least a large sum of it. And in November 2021, I had 1K, so I was able to go on TikTok Live, and I will be mentioning that later in the video, but I now currently have 2.7K followers. I really love them, and they're amazing. But yes, that is how I got the large part of my following is through those trends, and those trends was very helpful. I will say I was told to be very cautious because there are some people who don't necessarily follow the rules of that trend. Alright, so now I am going to be talking about marketing, networking, and making connections. Most people don't love marketing. Sometimes it's because I heard an author friend say that I think this generation, at least my generation, doesn't want to market and show this. It's we don't want to sell anything because we just don't want to. But here's what I've learned when it comes to marketing, and I will say, and I'm probably going to put a disclaimer here, I know nothing about marketing. Absolutely nothing. What I have learned so far with marketing, or learning how to sell a product, from my experience, of what I've been seeing is that it's a 24/7 effort. Like, if you pause, like, everything stops. No posts, no engagement. No engagement, no sales. It's honestly really exhausting. But for me, what makes it doable is, like, viewing marketing as part of my creative process. It's just another way to, like, share the stories I love. Being able to be creative while doing, like, a part of the job that not everyone loves. How I am continuously being able to post these videos and post just social media in general, because, yeah, like I said, it's so much work, but it's just, it can be a lot, and it does affect your mental health, and I'm going to touch on that later in the video as well. When it comes to networking, okay, so TikTok is amazing, and that is because, and whenever I was trying to gain followers, I was trying to gain followers not only to, like, build a community and market my books, but I wanted to make a connection with people, and I'll also be talking about, like I said, I'll also be talking about connections. The live streaming feature of TikTok is, like, perfect for building connections. I've seen authors interview each other live. Usually an author has on many authors, and each author gets 5 minutes to market their book. I've seen authors collaborate with narrators for takeovers and, like, share snippets of multiple books to help out the authors, and so other people know about their books, and they're really awesome. The opportunities are endless when it comes to TikTok Live. That said, not every connection is the right one. Just because you share common interests doesn't mean the relationship will be a good fit. So choose your collaborations, like, thoughtfully and wisely. When it comes to marketing, networking, and making connections, balancing my passion for writing with creative demands of marketing, graphic design, video editing, posting consistently, because if you don't, like I said, if you don't have a post, you don't have engagement, and then you don't have any sales. It's harder than, like, you would expect. Even though I'm just talking to a camera, I'm still putting my life and my books out there for anyone to see. And that can be really intimidating. But every time I share, I remind myself the readers are out there, and each post is a step toward finding them. Actually, that is one of my goals for being an author in general. My first goal is to be a favorite author, like, have someone read my book and then they say that I'm their favorite author, right? Like, one day, I can't wait for this day, I will feel so lucky to have someone come up and say, oh my gosh, like, you are my favorite author. Like, I read all your books, like, that would be so cool. My second and my most important one is to be able to connect with the readers, because I write things that just are really hard things to talk about, and if a reader were to come up to me and say, yeah, like, I didn't feel alone whenever I was reading this. I felt so alone before I read this, and now I don't feel so alone anymore, because you felt this feeling, and I thought I was the only one that felt this feeling. And my third one, and hopefully this comes true, is to be a best-selling author. Now that I've mentioned marketing, networking, and connections, I wanted to talk about friends. I'm so lucky and grateful to find friends within BookTok. I am and will forever be grateful for the people I call my family. I know I've said to be cautious when it comes to making connections. That is true. But the fact that I can find like-minded people is truly amazing. My closest friends helped me and hyped me up when I wanted to give up writing, and cheered me up when I lost the original work in progress of my poetry book. They listened to me rant and about my personal life, and celebrated when I reached a high word count, and encouraged me when all I did was write 3 words. So I touched on going TikTok live. Some of the things I wish I knew before going live on TikTok was how much of a thick skin I would need to have. I'm no stranger to cyberbullying. I didn't realize how common and overlooked it is on the platform, and unfortunately it's something that's rarely talked about openly on TikTok, almost like it's a taboo subject, and it really saddens me, because if you were to talk on bullying or cyberbullying, you wouldn't be able to actually say the words. If you say the words bullying or cyberbullying, it's often brushed under the rug because of the platform's fast-paced entertainment-first culture. There has been multiple times of when my author friends got in trouble for talking about their books and their books deal with mental illness or mental disorders rather. And it's a lot of my friends I find are very passionate when it comes to mental health, and I completely love that. But it's so hard, and that is one other reason why it's so difficult to market books, is because, and I think a lot of my friends would agree with this, but when it comes to marketing your books, if you have a book with mental health representation, like, for example, one of my author's friends has a book with a character with ADHD. If you use the actual words, then the algo is going to not like that, and it's going to suppress your videos. It's going to hide your videos. There's an unspoken pressure to just ignore the hate or not acknowledge it at all, which left me feeling really isolated and unsupported. I really wish I had been more prepared for the emotional toll. And another thing I wish I'd known is how sensitive the TikTok algorithm can be. Certain words, like I mentioned, bullying or with anything concerning mental health, especially right now, even phrases can trigger the algorithm and really negatively impact your content and how it is shared. And you can actually, there is a term we use on TikTok, and it's called shadow banned. And that can result in your videos, your entire page being suppressed. And right now, I am suffering for that because I do talk about mental health, and I do continually say those words. I do try to censor the words, so it helps me out, but it really doesn't. At least right now, it hasn't made a difference. That is not going keep me from, like, talking about mental health, because I am a mental health advocate. But I am never going to stop talking about mental health, because it's literally a part of who I am. But shadow banned is basically, like I said, suppressing your videos or your posts. TikTok will not push your videos onto the For You page, so your followers won't even see it. New people will not see it. Understanding how the algorithm works can make a big difference in your visibility and reach. So now I want to talk about mental health and social media in general. Mental health and social media, they've always had a complicated relationship. A lot of people view platforms like TikTok as spaces filled with an unrealistic expectation and fake perfectionism and, like, just endless comparisons. That perspective isn't wrong, and of course it's not wrong, and it's one of the reasons many people encourage limiting screen time. But there's another side to social media, and it doesn't really get enough credit, I feel like. And it's the opportunity to connect. As someone who is more introverted, like I've said before, that sense of connection has been incredibly important for me. At the same time, I wasn't fully prepared for how much being part of communities like BookTok would impact my mental health, both positively and negatively. And in hindsight, I wish I had understood how emotionally demanding it can be to share parts of yourself online, and knowing that might have helped me find more balance early on. But with that being said, I love you guys. Always keep fighting. Bye. And with that being said, I love you guys. Always keep fighting. Bye.